So, this is my day one of 100 days of community. And today's topic is the foundation, right? Why is community essential to liberation work? So, I'm going to wait a moment, sip on some water, wait for a couple people to join in, and begin. Every day, I'm going to have like three bullet point simple things. We'll be here for about 30 minutes. Then I will release it in an article that's more long form with some reflective prompts and things to think about. I got my little notes and my water. Hi, Carolina. Oh, Carolina. I don't know. Sometimes people say it different. I don't want to mess up your name, but good morning. So here's where we're at, right? The foundation. Why is community essential to liberation work? Liberation is not an individual journey. That is something that we must know, right? When you come into this work, usually by way of anti-racism, you start learning how to do things on your own, right? Because people are exhausted and we're like, listen, go figure out how to do this. And then you get others who will capitalize on the work, right? White fragility and the book groups and all of the things. And you're there and it feels very finger wagging, shame on you. This is not my way of teaching, right? Because you really just don't know what you don't know. And these systems are set up so that we are completely divided and we don't know. We don't understand what it's like inside of other communities. We don't understand what happens inside of different class systems. We are not in community in that sort of way, right? So we know what we are going through and have the blinders on, and there's enough oppression to go around that you are quite oblivious to what other people are going through. But when you move into an anti oppression frame of mind, right, it is about intersecting identities. It is about recognizing that one could be both disabled and wealthy, right? Like those two things can exist. And though that they may be here in one area within those hierarchies of whiteness, they are down here in another. And understanding those intersecting identities allows you to kind of come in more and gain solidarity. So that's point one, is that liberation is not an individual journey. It's collective, right? It's holding each other accountable, which is something that's neutral. It is about seeing each other's multiple identities at all times and understanding how they play. And first and foremost, in a supremacy culture, when we're talking about white supremacy, it is the supremacy that impacts Black bodies. It is inescapable for us. There is no assimilating. So that is why we come at it from that point of, Black bodies first, because in every single marginalized group, there are Black bodies. You will never escape that. But what we cannot do, and I benefit from colorism, texturism, featureism, proximity to whiteness, I benefit from a lot of those things. But either way, this is, I can't assimilate into a system, right? So that is that one point, right? Why liberation is not an individual journey. You need community, and it is a collective repair process, and it is trauma. Two, community offers accountability, shared resources, and resilience. It's where we get to practice what we want to build, right? We can't go out in the world and say, well, this is how we want it. We're out there and we're protesting, those are necessary. And we're demanding something that we don't do in our own lives, right? I usually start with this. My work is centered, I take it with these three places: home, which is usually your parenting journey and your relationships, your work, those are going to be all those other systems, and within yourself. If you don't practice these things, if you don't practice community with yourself within your home, if your home runs as a dictatorship, if your home runs as in a hierarchy form, what are you creating in the world? You don't even understand how community looks in action. It's a theory for you. Pardon me, I'm a little bit stuffy today. So when we're talking liberation is not an individual journey, and we come into community and we learn, it becomes a collective process. And we get to hold each other accountable. And like I said before, accountability is neutral. It's where we just own it. Yes, I dropped the cup. That's it. You dropped the cup. Like, okay, so what are we going to do about it, right? So this is we're going to find a solution and we're going to offer a repair. I will replace the cup. I will buy another cup. Wonderful. Thank you for that repair. And then what are we going to do about it going forward? I will carry the cup with two hands. That is that process from accountability to repair to a solution. And that happens in community, and you need to do that. You can't practice that if you're just reading books and you're not in community. So I could turn around and say, ooh, maybe not. Or somebody else can hold you. I'm not a end all and be all here. Hold on, because Morgan has a question. Yes. Can you play in the room? Yeah, sure. Um, Kids are home because in Atlanta, the world shuts down when the temperature is low. Third point, right? When we're talking about collective action, we have to think and look at lived experiences, right? When you guys see Black people and coming together, laughing, or saying we're taking a break or what have you, or the resilience, it should inspire you. Unfortunately, anti-racism work, as it has been framed, um, in my opinion, has white people coming into the space as a savior. And we're like, you can't save yourself. Like, are we, if Black people and Indigenous people left this land, if the Indigenous say, you know what, y'all keep this land, we're out. We're going to roll with the Black people and we're going to go anywhere else because we're over this, you guys would still be sitting here in this system because this system was created to oppress you. We, as Black people, as Indigenous people, just became fodder for the war that's happening intracommunally between white people. This is an extension of feudalist England. Before they ever encountered Black and Brown people, they were 100% doing this to people that look like them. They found ways to separate white skinned people by race, by phenotype, well before they ever encountered Black bodies. So that needs to be reframed in order to be in the community. You can't save me because you have never been able to save yourself. This is thousands of years old. So what I try to do is offer very specifically for white people to reconnect to that. As a background for myself, I grew up Irish American. My mother's first generation Irish. My grandparents are from Ireland and not 1600s, more like 1950s migrated. So my mother raised me very much as an Irish rebel, and I love that for me. And why I love that for me is because I never clung to identity in the way that it happens in America. I very much grew up like I'm Irish. You can't take that from me because that's how ethnicity works. And my blackness never barred me from my Irishness. So I have a unique perspective on it because I realize how resilient even the Irish were and are today. We've seen that in the UN when they were the most vocal in regards to everything that was going on in Gaza, right? And there's a resilience there, an ancestral resilience that white body people need to touch, need to get back to, because you guys were colonized first. And it was actually a successful feat because you are no longer pushing back against colonization. When you see the indigenous of Turtle Island and the indigenous globally and Black people saying, no, that's my music, that's my hair, that's my food, it's because we have not been effectively colonized. We have not come into alignment with the English way of being and accepting it. You guys have, and you have to stop. And being in community, in intersectional, intentional community will make you stop and recognize the grief that you have lost in becoming white because it was a process. It was a loss of your language, a loss of your land, a loss of your traditional foods, clothing, right? Your own spiritual practices. And you see that in white bodied people with the constant co opting. I don't think that it's intentionally demeaning some, but I ignore them because they're just people who need attention. Um, and I don't, I'm not here for that. I'm here for those who actually want to do the work. Um, you see that in the co-opting, in the wanting to be a part of something. What you're actually looking for is what you've lost. And when you come into community, you could sit with that grief and that awareness, and it is sacred. And you hold that space amongst people that sees our lives are meant to be witnessed. We are not supposed to be living this way. Supremacy culture, capitalism, ableism, cis heteropatriarchy, Christianization, none of this is the natural way of being. This is 100% all construct, all constructed to serve a top 1%. And those are the wealthy, cis, white, hetero Christian oligarchy that we're watching take over now. And we're not going to change the world if we can't change ourselves. We will not change the world if we can't dismantle within. Good morning, Michelle. I miss you. So that's what this is about. And when the newscaster said yesterday, 100 days of the presidency. And I'm like, yeah, that's such a huge thing. And sometimes we think stuff just happens like in a moment, right? Like, oh, the inauguration is going to be heavy. And the truth of the matter is the next 10 years is going to be heavy. And it's been heavy for many, many people, for many, many generations. And I want to hold this space that for many white body people, you just woke up to oppression. You just remembered. And I say remember to put the parentheses around that read to do again and member to put back because there's an ancestral memory, right? There's epigenetic trauma that is being activated in your body of remembering what it was like to be part of the serfs and not the gentry, to recognize what it took for your own people and ancestors, and they had to assimilate. And now you get to make a different choice. Do you go back into the proverbial closet? Do you become less queer, less trans, less disabled, less autistic, less witchy, and assimilate to what we are about to walk into? Or do you make a different choice? And do you stand by your fellow queer, autist, disabled, trans bodied people? Do you stand with the indigenous of this land that we are all on that is stolen? Do you stand with the descendants of the stolen people? You get to make a different choice. You get to make a different choice. And that is what community is about. That is what is being asked of you. Because we're going to continue in cycles until, yes, Reverend Alexander, forward together, not one step back. Wasn't that a beautiful slogan? I was also not a fan of Hillary because again, Haiti crime bill and saying that black boys were super predators in that took juvenile delinquency to an extreme amount in the 90s that is still impacting people today. But it was a great slogan. It's now time to put your slogans in action. So every day for the next 100 days, I'm going to show up with points on building community, what that looks like, and I want you to come along on this journey. Let me see what Michelle says. I am in and out this AM due to an online training. That's okay. I wasn't going to take up much time because I know it's an awkward time of day, but I have children at home, so this is my best time of day, and this will be released Substack. So it's a great feature of adding captions, downloading it, and then I can upload it onto the podcast feature that's on Substack, as well as an article feature. So I wanted to bring up yet another thing. Thank you for your space and energy. So much appreciated. Thank you for being here. It's just as appreciated. That is what this is, right? That is what community is about. Reciprocal energy. I'm here, you're here, we show up. That is how that works. So now for the first 10 days, because I posted this in my intersectional allies for transformation group on Facebook. For the first 10 days, I'm going to blast this out. It's a pleasure. Thank you for being here, Chas. Um, and it's going to be bossed to everybody. After that, it will be for subscribers only. If you cannot afford the $8 a month, the $80 a year, one, you get 20% off if you sign up within those times that I'm up here. Two, everything I do, every single thing I do, I offer at no cost because that is what equity is. You email me scholarships at DesireeBStevens.com. Stevens is with a PH, and I will offer you a scholarship. No questions asked, no paperwork. Someone was like, well, if this was really about community, it would be free. That is a wild assertion to make when we are all navigating capitalism, and this is my job. You know what else should be free? Housing should be free. Food should be free. Education should be free. All of these things should be free. That this is what the systems of capitalism has given us. It has given us survival. And I am happy to be navigating that. And in my surviving capitalism, I 100% offer equity at every single turn because I recognize $8 a month can absolutely make or break somebody. So I wanted to put that disclaimer out there. Reverend David says community is about support. We got you. Thank you. That's what I said. I said, would you prefer that I ask for tithes and offerings and tax exemptions? I mean, because there's nothing free in a capitalist society, and that is awful. But that is why we have community. So the truth of the matter is anybody can join in on this 100 days, and thereafter, I have plenty of Facebook groups. I do meetups in real life, and my goal is to teach people how to create communities where they are. So I hope you join in. I hope you stay tuned. I hope you ask all the questions. I hope you subscribe. Um, I hope that this gives some hope because the next time you look at someone who you thought you could save, I want you to realize that we're here out of pure resilience, out of community, out of such a deep love for ourselves, for humanity, that we keep showing up, showing up with grace, with humility, even when we're tired. We're supposed to be resting. But honestly, we won't because we really do believe in humanity and we really do believe that this work can be done. We just need people who are willing to come into community and listen and sit and go slow. Like, this is, again, thousands of years old, right? Hundreds of years old in this country. And if you are white and listening to this, I want you to offer your own self some grace on you just realized that you fucked around and you found out. And though the small percentage of you guys knew it, the larger did not or didn't believe it. And you are going to be feeling many feelings of guilt, of shame. And all of those are more constructs that came out of Christianity that keep you not moving. Nobody needs to be shamed. Nobody needs to feel guilty. It is what it is. Again, accountability is neutral. We are here. What is the next step? Where do we go from here? We could sit in that moment and that awareness, like, oh, this was real. This is what people were talking about. Yes, acknowledge that. Again, that's sitting with that grief. Be aware that, yes, for the first time, you are realizing you are marginalized. And that is a horrible feeling. That is a gut punch, right? I remember on my own decolonization journey, I share this often. I was a whole white woman in America until I was about 28 years old. I'm now 45. And my friend Jason, we were out and we were promoting a show. We had like an A&R kind of business here in Atlanta. And we were promoting a show, and I was like shoving flyers and creative loafing. And he was like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "It's a free publication. Put our flyers in there. What are you talking about? That's how we can distribute this in an easier way." And he was just like amazed at my lack of care for potential police intervention and just how I moved about in life. And he brought things to my attention, him and KP Tyler. Those two black men changed my life. I remember when I didn't know what the fuck redlining was. So been there, done that, and look at me now. So it is a journey and it is a collective one. And it was one that my hand was held in. And so I pay that forward. because I am super aware of what it's like to wake up to systemic injustice that has been happening all around you and never having a clue that it was. So give yourself that moment. Give yourself that grace. Because I was like, what? I was appalled. Like, what? How is this allowed to happen? What are you even talking about? What do you mean? I thought this, that, and the other thing. Oh, white women in America. So it can happen, but it does take community. It does take accountability. It does take care. It does take grief. It does take awareness, and it takes action. So this is me being actionable. This is me saying, I'm going to show up. I would like for you to show up with me. Substack is my new home. I'm super thankful for this space. I moved here about a year and a half ago from TikTok because I did not have the ability to be live like I am now or consistently having conversations due to separation in my marriage. And he was the primary childcare provider. And then all of a sudden, I had three children to take care of in a very real way. So I went back to my first love, which was writing. And I love it here. And then they combined all of my joys. I can go live, I can write, and I can talk to people. And I'm like, look at you, go Substack, go Desi, you and me, twin. So I will be here again tomorrow, same time, same bat channel. And this will get re-released in an article. Like I said, Substack will download this, add some captions on there. They even broke it up into clips yesterday. I'm impressed. Um, and we'll be here. And these three bulleted points, I see some people are just joined in, are going to be reiterated in there. And you will have them. And along with that will come a reflection prompts. I am a journaling fool. I love it. Years ago, I used to have a Marco Polo channel, and it was all about shadow work and journaling. So I'm super with it. So get ready to write. I will round those things up. Day one is the foundation why community is essential to liberation work. One, liberation is not an individual journey. Two, community offers accountability. Three, lived experiences are necessary in building community. That's all. Thank you for your time. Michelle says, thank you. It is time to get uncomfortable and be accountable. And I am grateful for this space to support that. Michelle, you have been here for so long with me, and I love how you keep showing up. Just that's it. That's the key to it. Want to know how to change things? Keep showing up. I'm going to keep showing up. I've been showing up for years, and I'm going to continue to do so. So I will talk with you good folks of Salem later. Um, Stay tuned for my next article. We're still in season of self, and I think today is Tuesday, so the next article is Wednesday. And season of self series is about coming inside, taking care of self because it's winter. There's no new year, new beginnings. Everything is fucking dead outside. Like, and some of us are dead inside. So we are going to work on that and build that up and touch those dark spaces and bring some love and some light to those spaces for the renewal come spring. And I'll be here tomorrow. Thank you, amazing people. Um, and I do hope that you become subscribers. And again, if finances are a barrier, in the article I will be releasing, it's always scholarships at Desiree B. Stevens with a PH.com. And that's no questions asked. I'm not about to ask you. I'm going to trust you know your financial situation better than I do. And you'll get it because I believe in equity and accessibility. And that goes beyond physical space. All right. Have a good one, y'all.